Greetings, folks. Anila Horum here with the World of Warships replay, this time submitted by Piss and Napalm in the new Tier 9 Japanese destroyer, the Kitakaze. Piss and Napalm is divisioned with Lynn Wilkie in the Tier 9 British battleship, the Lion, and with Jimijaz in the Tier 9 German destroyer, the Z-46. They are in a domination match on Okinawa, and each team brings 5 battleships, 3 cruisers, and 4 destroyers to the match. And I should note that on the opposing team, they have 2 of the new Tier 10 Japanese gunboat destroyers, the Harugumo, and they also have a Kitakaze as well. As far as ship upgrades for Piss and Napalm's Kitakaze, he takes the torpedo tubes modification 3 upgrade in slot 6, and this brings down the reload time of torpedoes to about 2.5 minutes. And as far as commander skills, he takes a triple level 4 skill selection, one of which obviously includes concealment expert, but then he also takes IFHE to allow him to pen 32 millimeters, which is enough to overmatch most battleship bows and sterns. And then he also takes radio location to facilitate DD locating and hunting. As far as highlights for this battle, obviously we're going to showcase some of the great capabilities of this new Tier 9 gunboat. It is, in some sense, a souped-up Akizuki. Obviously has access to the slot 6 upgrade to give it some more offensive potency based on what it chooses. It has better concealment at 5.9 kilometers, and it has a 6 torpedo launcher on this ship to allow it to send a lot more torpedoes. It has slightly more hit points than the Akizuki. I think it's about 300 more, not a lot, but offensively it has quite a bit up on the Akizuki. Now, as far as other highlights, the gameplay here is going to start out being a little bit slow. It's mainly going to focus around cap contesting and taking. There isn't going to be a lot of offensive firepower used initially, and but we'll see a lot of changes and a lot of the use of the firepower later in the match, and so we'll get to see the potency of the ship. So Jimijaz and Piss and Napalm, now that they've secured Bravo, looking at the map, they've decided that they're going to head towards Charlie to help contest that cap. The Allied team at Alpha is not in a very good position to be able to attempt to support or take the Alpha cap. We can see that the Allied Shimikaze, which did go to the Alpha cap, has been driven out. There is an opposing Worcester and the opposing Kitakaze at Alpha, and so Shimikaze is making a good choice, not attempting to stay in the cap with that firepower, but I'm not sure why he's heading so far north and taking him that far out of the battle. Jimijaz and Piss and Napalm have moved toward the Charlie cap. Piss and Napalm will put some fire on this opposing Harugumo to try to sort of drive him off. But we can see that the opposing team generally has very good positioning here at Charlie to keep this cap defended. They've got 3/4 of their team's firepower here, and so it's going to be very hard to attempt to take out, to dislodge the group here. First blood goes to the opposing team. The Allied Confederate is taken out first, and so the team is already down a Tier 10 battleship. Piss and Napalm is going to keep his stern on the opposing team, or pointed towards the opposing team here at Charlie, in anticipation of more torpedoes coming. But now the Allied team has now lost a second ship, this time the Alsace, so they're now down 2 battleships. And they're positioning, the Allied team's position here is quite spread out. It's not going to be able to focus out any particular cap very well here. So Jimijaz and Piss and Napalm are trying to do their best to provide spotting and to try to drive off as much of the opposing team here so we can try to get the Charlie cap, since the majority of the Allied team's firepower is here at Charlie. At Alpha, the team is sort of in this entrenched battle, 3-on-3. The Allied Yamato is a little too far, in my opinion, from the Alpha cap to be able to provide really effective support. I don't know about the skills of that player, so I can't tell if he's able to put effective fire on any of the ships at Alpha. Now the Allied team has lost a third ship, this time the Allied Gearing, and then almost immediately followed by a loss on the opposing team. So the Allied Cleveland was able to take out the opposing Worcester, which definitely helps. And now the Cleveland is kind of face to face with the opposing Kitakaze. Again, we cannot see what the battle is looking like over there. But I will say that the Cleveland is going to be able to get the Kitakaze down as well. And that will be 2 critical kills that this Tier 8 cruiser is going to be able to get on this team. In fact, there he just finished off the opposing Kitakaze. And that leaves the Friedrich der Große at Alpha to deal with. Although the der Große is going to end up taking out the Cleveland at Alpha. There is now Piston Napalm moved back into sea to try to take it, but there is radar from the Baltimore, and he's Piston Napalm is now being targeted by multiple ships. I think it will actually go up to 3 that are targeting him. Yes. So he needs to abandon his attempt to take this cap. Jimijaz moved back to Bravo because we saw that one of the opposing Harugamos moved towards Bravo to contest that cap, and Jim needs to try to keep that cap secured, since that's the only cap that they actually have controlled up to this point. We can see there's a stream of 6 torpedoes from Piston Napalm that are moving south to try to push off the ships there. Now this Yamato on the Allied team that has moved into Charlie has made his push at a poor time. He is the focus of at least 5 or 6 ships, including, we see this huge volume of fire coming in from one of the opposing Harugamos. The Harugamo has 5 double turrets and is able to put out 10 shells every 3 seconds, not including any sort of BFT or other reload buffs, including upgrades. So it's a formidable force to deal with, and the Yamato essentially just committed suicide by trying to push in the cap with such a large opposing force still near Charlie. Now, Piston Napalm, knowing that the Baltimore has been driven off and has recently used his radar, he's able to move back into Charlie to secure it. And we can see at Bravo that Jimijaz had been attempting to keep Bravo contested, but he's been pushed off as well. We see that at Alpha, the opposing Friedrich der Große has been finished off. So now there is no opposition at Alpha, and the Allied Yamato and the Allied Shimakaze are now free to move into Alpha to take that cap. So that's a good sign. As I indicated, Charlie has also now been secured. Jimijaz has moved back into Bravo to keep it contested. Presumably he's using a combination of smoke and hydroacoustic search to keep, or at least initially light up one of the destroyers that was in Bravo, which was the Fletcher. And now we can see that the opposing Harugamo that was originally at Bravo has now moved to Alpha. So I think he's trying to defend the Alpha cap. But Piston Napalm has sent a double spread of 6 torpedoes in the direction of all those capital ships south of him, south of him. He gets a number of torpedo hits on them. He's now sunk the Baltimore and immediately followed sinking the Montana for a double strike. So he's up to over 100,000. In fact, his torpedoes are still going, and he gets another torpedo hit. And we can see in the upper right-hand corner that whatever he hit, and we'll find out that it's actually one of the Yamatos, that Yamato is flooding. And so in relatively short order, Napalm has now pushed his damage counter well over 100,000 and has put a serious dent in the firepower of the opposing team that had been hanging out on the southwest side of Charlie. A large portion of the opposing team that was, in fact, the Piston Napalm floods out one of the opposing Yamatos, and that is now his third kill for the match. And now this other Yamato has no other allies at Charlie, and so he's now going to retreat. We can see that at Bravo, the bulk of the remaining of the opposing team has relocated there. Jimijaz obviously has made a smart decision to completely abandon trying to hold that cap. There's simply too much firepower for him to have to face that. He's mainly just trying to keep things spotted for other ships on their allied team. Here comes a blind fire from the Yamato. He's obviously very frustrated by all the gunfire coming in, although I think that may have also been fire that was aimed at the allied Whitherer, which was directly behind Piston Napalm. But either way, Napalm took a couple of overpens from the Yamato there. I should also note that Piston Napalm has earned the Whitherer achievement between the flooding and that he put on that one Yamato and the distribution of fires that he's had on other ships. He's now done over 60,000 in damage in fire and flooding. The allied team at Alpha pushed off the opposing Harugumo that had gone to Alpha to attempt to defend it, and now the situation has reversed. So if you noticed a few minutes ago, the opposing team had the lead. They had 2 caps secured, but now they have fallen behind. They've lost a couple of caps, although they did take Bravo, and there the allied Yamato is finished off. That was coming around the Alpha side to the west side of Alpha. And so Jimijaz and Piston Napalm are going to move back into Bravo here to secure this cap. We can, and Piston Napalm is going to smoke up here, and he's going to put some fire on that very low health Lion that's on the south side of Alpha. And in a couple of salvos, he's going to be able to finish off this Lion for his 4th kill. So there's his 4th kill, and they also secure the Bravo cap. So now the allied teams have secured all caps. They have not a huge lead, but they have a meaningful lead. But they are even on ships now, and because they hold all caps, their lead will grow quite rapidly. There are still 2 destroyers on the opposing team. I'm not sure why they're not having one spot, like the Fletcher have spot, and then let the Harugumo use its very high DPM to shoot ships that they can see. Although it may be that the Harugumo cannot reach Linwilkie and the Lion, who's on the northeast side of Bravo. There's the high caliber achievement. It looks pretty clear that this opposing Hindenburg does not have hydroacoustic search running, and he's going to take 2 torpedoes, earning Kraken Unleashed for Piston Napalm. So quite a bit of a turnaround, and we've seen a very good example of the firepower of this ship. Piston Napalm is up to 227,000 in damage. Again, 5 kills. He's earned Kraken Unleashed, high caliber, Whitherer, and he's gotten a double strike. He is firing here, I assume, to see if he is detected by one of the 2 remaining destroyers on the opposing team, which he is. And now both of them are targeting him. There is the Fletcher, but the Fletcher smokes up immediately after detecting. So now he has nobody spotting for him. And I think Napalm, and then in fact now we can see that Alpha is being contested again. So obviously the opposing Harugumo has moved to Alpha, which frankly is not what's needed. If I were that player, I'd be focusing on trying to get ships down. But so I'm not sure what his thinking was at this point. And the Allied team now is at 950 points. There's the Confederate. Jimijaz finishes off the Fletcher, and now they're only seconds away from winning. And that will end the match. So a very good match for Piss and Napalm in the brand new Tier 9 gunboat Japanese destroyer, the Kitakaze. Hats off to him, and hats off to Jimijaz and the other members of the team that kept their cool and helped secure a come-from-behind victory. So I hope you enjoyed the replay and the commentary. Please do leave your comments below. And as always, we hope to see you out there and wish you happy sailing.